This chase, which could be made for a Hollywood movie, began 40 miles north of Los Angeles and Santa Clarita, California, when Lavelle Mosley, Terion Lamarr Collins, and two other armed men belonging to the neighborhood Rollin 40 Crips held up a Bank of America branch shortly after 10 a.m. and fled in a black Volvo SUV that had been reported stolen only hours earlier. Deputies from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department quickly located the suspects and began to pursue them. Some say, as an act of Robin Hood in the hood, or out of pure desperation, a car full of neighborhood Rollin 40 Crip members led police on a high-speed chase through downtown Los Angeles and started throwing stolen money out of the window, drawing a large group of people trying to get some quick cash. Today, we're going to address exactly what went down that day and talk about why a lot of robbers stole money out the windows when being chased by police. Yeah. All right. Welcome to Cali's Most Dangerous. Let's get into it.
They couldn't believe their eyes in a neighborhood of Los Angeles today as police chased bank robbers who were in their SUV, just like the movies. But what made this different was what the suspected perps were throwing out the window, fistfuls of apparently stolen dollars.
On September 12th, in 2012, at around 10 a.m., three masked men entered the Bank of America in a shopping center in Kane County. The first two men entered the bank and jumped over the teller counter. The third man, who was identified as Mosley, stayed in the bank lobby's area. Bank customer David Yerzua was in the bank's lobby and saw a gun in Mosley's right hand. Mosley pointed the gun around and told everyone to get on the ground. Bank employee Valerie Rivas, who was also in the lobby, saw Mosley walk around as if he was holding something and had something bulging from his waistband on his right side. The other two robbers were holding bags and ran back and forth between the two tellers. One of the robbers, who was wearing a construction reflection vest, approached teller Erica Corona. Both Corona and assistant bank manager Luis Urega heard the robber tell Corona, "Give me all your f***ing money or I'll f***ing shoot you." The robber took the money out of Corona's drawers and also grabbed the tracking device hidden in a strap of $20 bill. The second robber, who was wearing dark-colored clothing, approached teller Brandon Ruffin. He grabbed Ruffin's and pointed something that looked like a gun covered in a bag at Ruffin's face. Ruffins tried to head to the vault to activate the distress code, but the robber pulled him back to his station and told him to open the cash box. When Ruffin said he did not have the key to the cash box, the robber went over to teller Heather Gunn. At that time, the first robber was shouting at Gunn, "Give me the f***ing money or I'll f***ing shoot you." Gunn was frozen, so Undergirl opened Gunn's drawer and both robbers started taking the money out. When the second robber picked up the tracking device, he threw it back into the drawer. Meanwhile, Mosley, who stayed in the lobby area, took his cell phone from one of the bank customers, Joyce Gigger. All three bank robbers then fled together in a black Honda, taking $23,542 in cash with them.
In that speeding black SUV, four guys who just robbed a bank in Santa Clarita. The cops hot on their tail, a chase topping 100 miles per hour. So far, so LA.
The entire robbery took about 2 to 3 minutes at most. The Rollin 40's robbery and the getaway was planned out exactly as planned. But these guys are from the ghettos of South Central Los Angeles, California. And in the hills of Santa Clarita, they stuck out like a skinny bitch with a BBL. Because of this, it was many witnesses reporting Rollin 40's activity.
3 went into the bank this morning, and 1 was outside with a getaway car.
Fled the scene in this SUV. Law enforcement agencies were first led to Sylmar, where 2 suspects jumped out. Only 1 was later caught. Then 2 others continued onto the 210, then 110 freeway and into South Los Angeles.
John Springer was in the bank parking lot when he saw 2 men run out of the bank and jump into a black Honda. One man wore a construction vest and the other one wore black clothing and one had on a mask. The man with the vest held a black bag in hand and a black object in the other hand. As the Honda sped away, Springer followed the car. He lost sight of the Honda for a couple seconds, then saw it parked in an alley behind a shopping center with its doors open, but no one inside. When Springer returned to the parking lot in front, he saw a black Volvo SUV leave on a lot and followed it on a hunch. At the red light, Springer looked over in the Volvo and saw Ely driving. Springer could not see in the back of the Volvo because the windows were tinted. Believing that the Volvo was involved in a robbery, Springer returned to the bank and reported what he had witnessed to law enforcement. Springer was inside the bank when Yerzul told Springer that one of the robbery suspects had a gun. Another witness saw several people exit the black Honda and run towards the Volvo. The witness flagged down a sheriff's deputy and gave him the license plate number of the Volvo. She sent the corresponding officer. At first, it seemed like the Rollin 40s had gotten away with the robbery, but Los Angeles County Deputy Sheriff Mark Mansker and his partner Ronald Olfert eventually caught up with the Volvo traveling southbound on the 14 freeway. The Volvo then headed eastbound on the 210 freeway and stopped on a shoulder near the Yarnell off-ramp. A man who turned out to be Collins exited the Volvo's front passenger door and ran down the embankment. The Volvo then re-entered the freeway at a high rate of speed and continued eastbound, crossing all lanes of traffic multiple times, then stopped again along the right shoulder near Hubbard Street. Another man exited the Volvo and ran down the embankment holding his waistband with his right hand. Sergeant Olfert believed the suspect was holding on to something, possibly a firearm. The Volvo accelerated back onto the freeway, eventually turning onto the 110 freeway towards Los Angeles, then exited on 2nd Street and traveled through downtown.
Suspect bank robberies, you never think that is one of your family members.
Keon McGowan is not justifying her nephew's actions, but she wants everyone to know a little more about Lavelle Mosley, who McGowan says is one of the suspects arrested after a pursuit.
I'm in trouble. He didn't have to say anything. The news said it all.
At this point, the chase, it followed the script of countless others before it in Los Angeles. While police pursuits, they passed as televised entertainment captured in real time by news helicopter. But then, as the men sped through the congested residential neighborhoods with more than a dozen sheriff's department vehicles in pursuit and a police helicopter tracking them overhead, the windows in the backseat of the SUV went down. And right after that, a hand grasping a wad of bills emerged and let go, sending money flying onto the pavement. As he continued tossing the mix of hundreds, 50s, 20s, 5s, and 1s, people in the area left their televisions and took to the curb.
If I can, just play the video of them throwing some of the cash out the windows, and they have thrown this out by our count at least 5 or 6 different times. Cash being thrown out, and you can see the kids are all running after it, right? They've done this a bunch of times, Megan, and you can see that these kids are running after the car now. They know where it is. It's on every television station in Los Angeles, and now you got kids running out of their house in downtown looking for a little cash. The police tell us, Megan, that every time they throw cash out, they actually have GPS indicators inside the police car, and they push a button. Every time they push money out, they push a button, and that is location of another crime scene. So every place they put money out, they go back and try to get the cash. Good luck. Like there could be 3. I mean, we know 3 people have gotten out, but you can see
There's some more.
and they're jumping in front of the cops. Right? And they're getting in the way. They're trying to jump in front of the cops like, hey, give us the money, give us the money. I mean, this is downtown Los Angeles, a very impoverished area.
Mosley, he waited until the car reached corners with large gatherings of people before sending more money out the window, seemingly trying to maximize the number of people who would scramble into the streets to get money. Also because of this, sheriff's deputies were forced to slow down and swerve to avoid hitting people. As the Volvo traveled southbound on Vermont Avenue past Martin Luther King Boulevard, a large amount of money was thrown outside of the Volvo's rear passenger window again. The Volvo then circled a residential area surrounding Budlong Street to the west, 41st Street to the north, Figueroa Street to the east, and 53rd Street to the south, 10 to 15 times or more. The cash grab unfolded in the neighborhood beset by joblessness. A Times analysis of the census data showed about half of the people aged 16 or older either were unemployed or out of the labor force, so people were definitely out.
We are poor. I mean, that don't justify what happens, but we're desperate. I'm not saying that justify what's going on, but sometimes we're out of our minds. We're not thinking at that point in time. We're hurt.
With each block, the crowds grew larger, consisting mostly of young men. Many cheered and raised their arms exuberantly as the SUV sped by. In the end, however, the play led to the suspect's undoing. As the money was thrown out of the Volvo, crowds gathered screaming, "Throw the money! Throw the money! Throw the money!" So with so many people following their escape route, the street became congested with cars and pedestrians. The SUV became trapped behind a truck. the sheriff's deputies left in their vehicles with guns drawn, swarmed the Volvo, and yanked the suspects out the car. Ely was removed from the driver's seat, and Mosley was removed near the rear passenger seat. Hundreds of onlookers assembled upon the scene, surrounding the vehicle in which the suspects had been placed in.
Crowds swarmed the streets to catch some cash.
Back up, move!
At this intersection, crowds blocked the getaway car. The two men had nowhere to go. McGowan says this is her nephew being arrested.
It was very heartbreaking. This is my family.
McGowan says Mosley, a father of twin girls, recently lost his other aunt, who was like a mother to him. He also lost his younger brother, his grandmother on the verge of losing her home.
With police badly outmanned and the crowd growing agitated, it appeared for several tense minutes that officers, they would need to use force to keep people at bay. Fortunately, the atmosphere lightened after scores of LAPD officers arrived to help dissipate the crowd. Witnesses at the scene, they compared the bank robbers to Robin Hood and thanked them for being so generous in the hood. I'm just so glad this person came to throw this money in the hood, basically. You see robbers and they take their stuff and leave. But this guy came over and tried to help us out. You know, it's a big depression nowadays, a 23-year-old woman told a news reporter. So it's more like all of us are supporting the robbers and the cop. He's doing something I never thought a robber would do, quoted another individual. However, the police thought otherwise. Captain Mike Parker of the LA County Sheriff's Department said he didn't believe the robbers were being intentionally generous and had no prior plans to make it rain in the streets of the hood. They were robbing a bank to steal and keep the money. I can't imagine they did this for the good of the community, he said. Adding, if they thought they would be throwing money out the window just to distract us or have people getting away to block us, they were gonna run out of money. We're not gonna run out of sheriff's deputies, and we're not gonna run out of helicopters. He was also quoted saying, what do y'all think though? Were the bank robbers the real life Robin Hoods, stealing from the rich and giving back to the poor of South Central Los Angeles? Or were they just playing robbing? Y'all let me know in the comments. In my opinion, they knew they were gonna get caught. And they knew they wouldn't get away with the money. They didn't want the cops to get it, so fuck it. Let's give it to the people. Anyways, Collins was apprehended in the backyard of a house. When Collins was sitting in the back of the patrol car after his arrest, he said, I apologize for causing you guys all this trouble. I don't know why there's so many police here. It's not like we hurt anybody. The robbery suspect who exited the Volvo after Collins, he was never caught.
Downtown LA, now the police will begin their task of trying to review the TV footage to find out exactly who took it. Look at the size of the crowd that has come out to see this arrest take place. There was not a lot of resisting going on once they actually got the car, of course.
The investigation. The black Honda was searched and processed for evidence. Items found in the car, including two fluorescent construction vests, a 5-gallon bucket lined with a trash bag in the back seat, a box full of trash bags below the bucket, and 2 cell phones. The bucket had a small amount of water in it. There was also water on the floor of the back seat as well. According to Detective Mark Lorenz of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, who was assigned to investigate the robbery, experienced bank robbers, they fanned through the money and discarded any tracking device found and submerged the money in a bucket of water to deactivate any tracking device. The black Honda had been reported from West 42nd Street, which was located in the territory of the neighborhood Rollin 40. None of the items received in the Honda belonged to its owner though. The Volvo was also searched and processed for evidence. Items found inside include $298 in various denominations, money wrappers, water bottles, lighters, various pieces of clothing and shoes, and 2 pieces of black nylon fashioned like a mask. Los Angeles Sheriff's Detective Nicholas Gregory Canis, who was also assigned to investigate the robbery and who had investigated hundreds of previous robberies, opined that the bank robbers held their semi-automatic weapons inside bags to capture any ejected shells when a weapon was fired so that law enforcement couldn't collect them. He also opined that a surveillance video in this case showing a man entering a bank dressed in layers of clothing was consistent with bank robbers who wear layered clothing who were removed later after the robbery. Gang evidence. Los Angeles Police Department Officer Robert Smith testified as the prosecution's gang expert on the Rollin 40s gang. He said the territory of the Rollin 40s consists of Figueroa Street to the east, Crenshaw Boulevard to the west, 52nd Street to the south, and Martin Luther King Boulevard to the north. Budlong is one of the streets within the gang's territory. Gang territories are marked by graffiti, and gangs protect their territories by committing assaults and even murders of people who disrespect them by being in their territory. Having a territory is important to a gang because it permits the gang to sell drugs within the territory to make money. Having a better reputation is also important to a gang because it leads to more respect among other gangs. Being on the news for crimes committed is considered good advertisement for the gang. It helps their reputation as an active gang. Gangs also enhance their reputation by putting up graffiti in rival gangs' territory and using social media to brag about their crime. Instilling fear into the community is important to a gang because it allows the gangs to commit crimes near territory without people in their neighborhood going to the police. The Rollin 40s gang has been around for over 4 decades, and on September 12, 2012, the detectives said that there were approximately 1,000 to 1,200 members and about 600 to 700 documented members. Gang members are documented when they admit their membership, have gang tattoos, associate with known gang members, or commit crimes with known gang members. Gang members are also documented from photographs taken by other gang members, all when they are shown making gang hand signs. In early 2012, Officer Smith was driving down 43rd Street and observed Mosley and Collins standing near each other. Recognizing Mosley from a prior contact, Officer Smith approached. When Officer Smith attempted to speak to Collins, Collins ignored him and left. After speaking with Mosley, Officer Smith returned to his car and told his partner that Collins was a documented Rollin 40 Crip member. Officer Smith also observed Collins' various Rollin 40s tattoos at the primary hearing and reviewed Collins' field identification card. Officer Smith opined that Collins was a Rollin 40s member with the moniker TK or Tiny Clown. Given a hypothetical scenario based on the facts of the case, Officer Smith opined that the bank robbery was committed for the benefit of an association of the Rollin 40s gang. The Rollin 40 Crip members committed the crime together and threw money in their neighborhood to gain favor among their fellow community members and gang members. Officer Smith's opinion was based in part on 2 tweets from a member of the gang known as Piranha, and another tweet from Nisha, also from the gang. Piranha's tweet said, "Free my lope, tiny hoods to foot." It also said he couldn't keep the money, but he gave back to the hood. Followed by real hood shit. According to Officer Smith, Tiny Hoods to Foot was Mosley's moniker. Nisha's tweet said, "Free my brother Hoods to Foot." He did the most G robbery since Set It Off. Laugh out loud. The tweet was posted on Instagram and Twitter, with a photograph of Mosley being taken into custody at the end of the pursuit, and another photograph of Mosley making the Rollin 40s hand gesture. Nobody was hurt, and even if it was a little, these guys gave at least something back to the community. But my only question is, was it worth it? One suspect got away and was never found, but Mosley, he was sentenced to 33 years in a state prison, and Collins was sentenced to 45 years and 8 months in a state prison. Let's be clear, this situation was not the first time of something like this happening, and it definitely won't be the last.
In Compton, this is a live look at where pursuit ended on 157th between Visalia and Haskins. Armed robbers threw money out of the window. You see the LAPD officer picking up each dollar bill. We think it's their dollar bills. There was an armed robbery apparently.
Matter of fact, handfuls of cash were hauled into the streets as police chased suspect in a robbery in January of 2008. One person was arrested after a pursuit through 2 counties at speeds topping 100 miles. Costa Mesa Police Sergeant Byron Glass said 3 masked men held up the Downey Springs 7 branch, fled in a getaway car, then switched into another vehicle. The second vehicle led police on a chase along freeways from Orange County into Los Angeles County. In Los Angeles, the chase moved from freeways and onto streets as someone in the car threw at least 3 wads of money out the window. The car eventually crashed into a palm tree at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza, and the 4 men, they run off inside. Los Angeles police said 1 man was arrested as officers searched for the other suspects. Police did not identify whether the money was found in the car. Police said 1 man was arrested as they continued to search for the other suspects. And there was no word on what happened to the currency thrown out during the chase. On top of all that, these Robin Hood activities, they're not just limited to Los Angeles, California.
A robbery has had an unusual end in Chile. The thieves were being chased by police when they decided to throw bags of money out the car window. Quite a lot there. The Chilean pesos went flying across a busy highway as police stopped traffic to try to collect the cash, but some of the cash landed in a few hands of a few lucky bystanders. The robbers stole almost $16,000 from a gambling hall, and all 6 have ended up in jail.
All the throwing money out the windows is down there everywhere.
Something you don't see every day, money scattered along US 19. This was the scene after deputies say a man robbed Hancock Bank in Clearwater and led them on a short chase. Deputies disabled his car shortly after and took him into custody.
Y'all stay safe or dangerous out there.